Oh my god, I have to read this. Can I read this one? I want to read this one. Can I read this one? Can I read it? I want to read it. Hey everybody, Space Marine Steve, Ian, Hyperspace Hobbies. Welcome. So we are doing more. We are talking even more about the new Space Marine Codex. And last time, what we did is we sat down and we went through the detachments, gave our reactions, talked a little bit of tactics with them a little bit. And yeah, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to keep this train rolling, and we're going to continue to place them kind of like in a tier order.
Which is scary because everything's so new and we
have no idea.
We haven't seen anything on the battlefield yet.
I've played like 2 of these.
Yeah, right.
But it doesn't matter. We're going to make some just wild ranking systems is what we're going to do. So right now, in first place is the Iron Storm Assault Force, or whatever it's called. Yeah. Iron Hands. Iron Hands is first, and after that is Ultramarines, Gladius. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to see where the Anvil Siege Force, Imperial Fists, where the Imperial Fists lie, the Banana Boys.
Yeah, these are your guys.
I love these guys. I love Imperial Fists. Look at them.
Imperial Fist crap is all over this place.
It's everywhere. So it's just everywhere.
It's littered all over this place.
Everywhere. There's so many.
There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of yellow.
So many everywhere. There's a lot of yellow up there.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. So the Anvil. Oh, you know what? Before we do, what we should probably talk about just a little bit here at Hyperspace Hobbies, we have a subscription drive going on. We really badly in this month of Space Marines, this Space Marine-tober, I'm kind of calling it. We really, really want to hit 3,000 subscribers. We want to grow our community, grow the people watching our videos and content, and we want to, bring more content to you guys. So what we would like is if you like our videos, you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share them with your friends, comment down below. We love talking about 40K.
Yeah.
So help us hit our goal of 3,000 subscribers by the end of October. That's what we want to hit. We'll get as close as we can.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, the Shield of the Imperium, the detachment rule. Ranged weapons equipped by Astartes models get heavy. Everything gets heavy.
The whole thing.
If such a weapon already has the heavy ability, each time an attack is made with that weapon, if the attacking model's unit remains stationary, this turn, add 1 to the wound roll.
Ooh.
Incredible.
+1 wound.
Incredible.
You already have heavy? You're standing still? +1 wound.
But Steve, how am I going to, some moment, but it lost the, this is it.
This is it. This is what
it.
does it.
It was in the Iron Hands attachment.
Yep.
Plenty of ways to get by with the lethals on 5s. Here you go.
I actually, when I first read this, I was not as pumped on it as I am now. Like, it's funny, you know what? This is actually kind of something with 10th edition, kind of in general. This is just my own opinion. But I have actually, basically everything that I've read in 10th and everything I've experienced in 10th has started like down here and then slowly trekked up. When I first read the rules, honestly, I was kind of like, meh.
Right.
I mean, they're okay.
But you've played this already.
I played this already.
Yeah.
But 10th, though, like when I first read the rules, just general rules, I was like, meh.
Yeah.
And then as I played more games, I liked it more and more and more and more and more. Right? And now I actually think 10th is one of the best rule sets that they've created. But it started out like it doesn't read well. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and this I felt the exact same way. When I first read that, I was like, oh, it promotes a static game style.
This does.
Like, this really promotes static gameplay, which honestly, like in Warhammer, doesn't always work out well.
You win in the movement phase.
You win in the movement phase. And here, you're kind of saying, don't do the movement phase because you're going to hit way harder. And this is a strategy that can work really well, but might not.
Yeah.
Right? And when you're talking about playing on, like, let's say you're playing on the GW layouts, right, which is the layouts that we usually play on, well, you might not get to see where the other objectives are. Yeah. You might not have the line of sight you need to connect, right? Now, with that being said, should your opponent ever get the cojones to walk out into line of sight, they're dead.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
It's a massive damage increase, especially if anything with heavy. And there's actually more weapons with heavy. They're mostly on infantry units, but there's a lot of heavy weapon stuff in the Space Marine Codex.
Oh yeah,
like a sneaky amount.
Yeah,
because a lot of those they're bare bones guys. Almost everybody has a heavy,
heavy
weapon,
weapon,
and
yeah.
then like Hellblasters, heavy weapon, and the
Intercessors,
heavy
yeah.
weapon.
And we'll get to that like when we talk data sheets kind of at the end of the video, so make sure you hang around to the end of the video. Once we get down there, we're going to talk a little bit about what some of the standout data sheets and stuff like that are.
But let's get to the enhancements.
Yeah, so all in all, it's a great detachment rule, although if you need to move, you're kind of like getting rid of its ability. So, you know, it's hot and it's cold. Enhancement time.
Indomitable Fury.
I love this one.
Gravis model only. The first time the bear is destroyed, roll 1d6 at the end of the phase, which is the best wording you could ever have. On a 2+, set the bear back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed and not within engagement range of enemy units with its full wounds remaining. This means that your Gravis captain who's sitting in the back, if he dies in the shooting phase, he can still get up. If he's not getting charged, he's going to survive.
Yeah.
And then you're going to still hold that objective if he's hiding on an objective.
It is really good.
I love Indomitable Fury.
Yeah, it's very good.
You just get twice the character, essentially.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
End of phase is the best.
Yeah, because then it like they don't get the chance to like kind of redo it. It's not like it's a feel no pain. It like
they don't get a chance to pile into him.
Yeah.
And if he dies in combat, he's outside.
Yeah. He's
great,
always
great stuff.
Going to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so fleet commander, captain model only. So this only goes on a captain. And this is absolute. I'll just preface this before I even read it. I don't like this one.
I also don't really love it.
I don't love it.
Yeah.
Mostly because it starts with this. It starts with this very specific phrase. Once per battle. So once per battle. At the start of your shooting phase, you can select one point on the battlefield and place a marker on that point. Then at the start of your next shooting phase, so this is a 2-turn ability, you place another marker on the battlefield that's within 12 inches of the first marker, and then you draw a line between them, and for every unit that is in between or goes over top of that line, you roll a dice. So there's the other part. You have to roll a dice. Yeah. So then you roll a dice, and then on a 3-up, they take D3 mortals.
Yeah, it's a weird version of orbital bombardment.
I want this to be any Adeptus Astartes model, and I also want it to be like 5 points. Because if it was both of those things, then I could see someone being like, oh, I got to the end of the list, and I may as well just sling Fleet Commander in there to just D3 wounds something right? And you would probably do it to pressure objectives. When people are huddling on objectives, you could do it to that and try and... But it's not.
Yeah.
Like D3 mortals. Like watch you be like, okay, on a 3-up, I do 1 mortal.
It has a potential for bad feels. And then you have to also place markers and line stuff up, and that can be a whole other tricky gambit. But whatever.
You go through all of this and you hit 1s and 2s, and then everyone goes home sad.
Yeah. Stoic Defender, Astartes model only. Why do they even say that? While the bear is leading a unit, models in that unit have...
wait. Why do they say that?
I don't know. Maybe because you take like
they
assassin
say it 'cause you
or
take
something?
assassins. That's why.
While the bear is leading a unit, models in the unit have a feel no pain of 6. Awesome. While they are sitting on an objective, which is great.
Stellar. It's where you want to be.
And while the unit is battle shocked, if they ever get battle shocked, you have the objective controlled instead of reducing it to 0. Mwah, give me this every day. Yeah. I love it. Architect of War, which is another really strong one. Adeptus Astartes model only. While this bear is leading a unit, ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have ignores cover. Which
so good. Oh my goodness, it's so good.
It's
Ian.
really good. Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one.
That's the big one. No threat too great.
Oh.
A battle tactic, so your captain can make it cost 0, though it does cost 2. When your shooting phase, target one Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes a ranged attack that targets a monster or vehicle unit, you can re-roll the wound roll. Remember, if you are equipped with heavy weapons and you stand still, you get +1 to wound. So you're +1 to wound and re-roll wounds. Yeah. This, again, owes a moment, a way to bypass the fact that you have a thing that's going to be re-rolling wounds with no threat too great.
And no threat too great is like screams like make a captain do this.
Yes.
Like It's 2 CP. Never spend any CP on it if you unless you absolutely have to. But you want to take a captain with a big unit of dudes and just volume out monsters like crazy.
Rigid Discipline.
I love it.
This is fantastic. I mean, this is one of those things where it's like, remember, you win in the movement phase. We're talking about this army's fairly static. Rigid Discipline, 1 command point. It is a strategic ploy. At the end of the fight phase, 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that is within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. Your unit can immediately make a fallback move of up to 6. There is restrictions. When making that move, your unit must end up either wholly within your deployment zone or within range of an objective marker.
Awesome.
Those things are probably doable with a fallback of 6, depending on where you place your guys. But you're going to be falling back. Hopefully those guys are going to have heavy weapons. They're going to stand still. They're going to shoot with +1 to wound against the unit that just attacked them in the fight phase. And then they're going to charge that unit. Unbelievable. Rigid Discipline, top tier. The fight phase.
End of the fight phase. So it could be yours.
You could potentially move, long bomb a charge.
Get in there.
Go through the fight phase. At the end of the fight phase, move 6 again and steal their objective away from them.
Yeah, you totally could.
Which is hilarious. Yeah, it's super, super, super strong.
Yeah, and no one would see that move coming either. You get really aggressive with it if you want to.
Yeah, you essentially just like slingshot a unit up.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Battle Drill Recall. This one's great. In your shooting phase, target 1 Adeptus Astartes unit in your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Okay. Effect, until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit have the sustained hits 1 ability. If your unit remains stationary, which many of them will be, then until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a ranged attack, a successful unmodified hit roll of a 5-up scores a critical hit. 10 heavy intercessors with 2 of the heavy bolters, all heavy rifles. And then you go 1 Gravis Captain, right? Maybe you can give them all the 6-up feel no pains, or actually no, ignore his cover. And then you attach the Apothecary Biologist 2. You give them all lethals, right? And then you pop that for 0 CP. Not 1 backward step. I love it so much. In your command step, 1 Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army within range of an objective marker. Until the end of your turn, double the OC, double the objective control characteristic of models in the unit, but you got to remain stationary this turn. Totally fine.
Incredible.
It's awesome.
Yep.
I freaking love it.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
You take those intercessors. This is a target you want to do to intercessors because they have a base OC of 2, turning them to 2, 4. They go from 2 to 4. 4 OC.
It's nuts.
If you have even 4 intercessors and you're oh, I have OC 16. So
Hail of Vengeance. It is a strategic ploy stratagem. Your opponent's shooting phase. You know I love my out-of-phase stuff. Just after an enemy unit has resolved its attacks, 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that had 1 or more models destroyed as a result of those attacks, your unit can shoot as if it were your shooting phase, but must target only that enemy unit when doing so, and you can do so if that enemy unit is an eligible target. Awesome.
So good.
It's 2 command points, but depending on at what points and how this comes, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really good.
What are your favorite units for this? The Anvil Siege Force. What do you think really
stands out?
Oh yeah, what's your top tier?
I kind of have said it. I kind of said it already with the previous example, but I think what they really want you to play is heavy intercessors.
Yeah.
Really, it's heavy intercessors and intercessors, or anything that has the heavy keyword. But heavy intercessors, I think, stand out. 1, because of their durability. They're toughness 6 now, which is amazing. 3 wounds. While they're standing still on those objectives, and they get hit with the damage 1 weapons or whatever, the unyielding in the face of the foe triggers, and their save gets better. Oh, it's so good. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And then they have a 30-inch gun. Yeah. It's 30 inches. Strength 5, AP 1, 1 damage. They shoot so hard. They hit on 2s. They'll wound really well. Against other infantry, you go from, I'm wounding on 3s to wounding on 2s because I stood still, right? And then if they have maybe a captain with that ignores cover thing, now they're AP -1/1 damage, ignoring cover, right? And then you're like, oh, the captain for free gets all sustained hits on 5s. The downside, I like criticisms here, right? Like so just like I had a criticism of the Iron Hands one where, there was a lot of redundancies.
Yes.
My issue here is it really promotes bad habits.
Yes, that is an interesting comment. It does promote bad habits. It really promotes remaining stationary,
Which is usually bad.
To get your big buff. But I still feel like it has some interesting movement quirks in its stratagems.
It does, yeah.
I really wonder how this is going to play and how often I'm going to want to just remain stationary to get that bonus.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more situational than we want it to be. Funny enough, I actually think drop pods might be a really good deployment strategy, because what you can do is you can spread out really, 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 really quickly, and then your opponent has to handle whatever it is that's in the pods, and the pods themselves, which can come down in like really inopportune locations. Right? Especially if you're playing on like the GW layout, where there's not huge like movement corridors.
You're saying you just roadblock your opponent.
And then the pods blossom. Let's say the pods shall blossom. Dudes get out, jump on objectives, hide behind the pods, and because of the way that big guns never tire function now, and in that diagram, like people are like, yeah, I'm just gonna like the pods don't guard your opponent's units anymore. Right? So you can't be, I'll just jump into this combat with this pod and be guarded. It doesn't work. I can still shoot you.
Yeah.
Right? So you like roadblock, and then it gives everything else this chance to like hunker for a sec, and then they can continue the shooting game. And I think that would be really annoying.
Because like Infernus Marines can go in a drop pod now, right?
Yeah.
So you could do Infernus Marines and like a Devastator squad.
Hilarious. Yeah.
And that could fill up your drop pod, and then you kind of have those guys being like, you have to deal with these Infernus Marines because they're causing battle shock, and they will overwatch you, and it's going to be a huge pain.
Yep.
And then also you got to deal with this Devastator squad that's going to be getting bonuses that are re-rolling on it.
But let's rank this thing. So let's come to the end of this. Let's rank it.
The Anvil Siege Force. I would put it just below the Ironstorm Spearhead.
He's better than Gladius?
I think the Anvil Siege Force might be better than Gladius. Yeah.
Really?
Just because the way Gladius works now, I feel like it worked before because of the reroll wounds. Now Gladius doesn't have a lot of options for reroll wounds. This, however, definitely does, with no threat too great. Putting on a captain, that costing 0.
It's a big deal.
Awesome. Battle drill recall, getting
deal.
a whole bunch of successful unmodified hit rolls of 5-score critical hit. Again, you can make sure that that's on a unit that has lethal. Now you're doing a whole bunch of lethal stuff. You're rerolling wounds against monsters. I think it's incredibly strong. Yes, the Gladius is going to have better mobility just because you're going to want to move around more.
Yeah.
But not having to worry about timing when you're using your battle doctrines and instead just going straight with
it.
I think it's sandwiched in between. I think the Anvil Siege Force is sandwiched in between Gladius and Ironstorm Spearhead. What do you think?
I think that this is actually on par with Gladius.
Yep.
I think I don't know if I'd put it above or below, but I think it's in the same kind of tier. We can I'll definitely concede that. Sure, like I can see places where this is better, so we can slide it above. But I think depending on what exactly army you're looking at, right? I think that it kind of goes like this Blood Angels doesn't do this well.
No.
Right? So Gladius is better for Blood Angels than it is for this, but if you're going Codex compliant or whatever, yeah, I think it's in that same band, and depending on what you have, it'll shift up and down. But this is definitely not better than the Iron Hands one, though.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right, cool. Well, we've talked about this. Anvil Siege Force, just a little bit better than Gladius, depending on the context. Definitely worse than the Iron Hands one. Iron Hands still leading the pack.
I think Iron Hands is leading the pack, but again, that is skewed towards you playing a certain style of thing.
Yeah.
It's the same with like what they did with the Tyrannid stuff.
Yeah.
You're not going to play Endless Swarm if you want to play big
monsters.
beasts.
No,
you're not going to play the Crusher Stampede if you want to play a bunch of small Griblies. No. This leans towards units that are heavy, and it leans, I think, mostly towards infantry models.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, this is all infantry all the time.
So you've got your vehicles,
You got your infantry,
and you've got your infantry.
then you got a little bit of everything.
And
in
then with the
Gladius,
Gladius,
a
you
little
can
bit of
pretty
everything.
much take whatever you want, which is
Sprinkling of everything.
which is great. Yeah,
It's
a
really
lot
good.
of options, a lot of fun to
Absolutely.
be had.
Thank you so much for hanging out until the end of the video with us. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be a part of our trek to 3,000 subscribers. Like, comment, share. Let's talk some 40K. And until we see you next time, this is Steve and Ian.
From Hyperspace Hobbies, signing out.